Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Natalie Osborne Thomason and Ghost Host, and we're talking today about strange things that might mean your house is haunted, and I'm choosing 5 strange things today. Now these are the most obvious things, so that's why I'm going into them. Now the first one, obviously you can see here, I've got a range of strange old vintage dolls, because one of the things that your house might be haunted, and one of the most haunted objects, is a doll. So I've come across quite a few in my 30 years of research, and one was a teddy bear doll by Anne Geddes. I haven't got it anymore. I sold it actually on eBay, and it was haunted by the little girl who'd passed away who owned the doll. And when I had it in my house, it would move around. I'd put it in one room and it'd end up moved across the room, and I hadn't moved it. And even when I was living on my own, I hadn't moved it. And I used to take it when I gave talks on ghosts. And it was quite a cute looking little doll. Now these 3 I've got here are vintage dolls. So yeah, if you find in your house that these children's toys are moved when your children are in bed, or the dolls start talking, if you've got like a doll that cries or a doll that makes noises, and in the middle of the night you hear that doll, chances are your house could be haunted and the ghost is trying to communicate via the doll. So that's one of the things. I suppose people don't always like dolls either, do they? They think, oh, they look, kind of watch you as you go around the room, their eyes and stuff like that. The second category is smells. So people think of ghostly noises, people think of ghostly sounds, but smells are fairly common. But the rarer smells that you get are things that aren't so much around anymore. Like, for example, there's a tour in Australia, you can go around an opium den, and you can still smell the opium sometimes, which is like a sweet, sickly kind of smell. And also tobacco, pipe tobacco. Now people don't tend to smoke pipes anymore, and pipe tobacco smells very different to cigarette tobacco. But the smell of smoke in a non-smoker's house that isn't there all the time but comes periodically, that is something people talk about. And also perfume. I've had it when I've been to haunted locations, and the smell of the perfume is so strong it almost hurts your eyes and hurts the back of your throat. And it is perfumes that sometimes that people don't tend to wear anymore, like things like Lily of the Valley and things like that. So yeah, that's ghostly smells. If you keep finding that there's smells that you can't trace in your house, it's not down to air freshener, it's not down to candles, it's not down to your perfume or aftershave, chances are your house may have a residual haunting of a ghost that comes and goes with the smell of that apparition or the activity that happened in the building. For example, with the opium smell, I've heard of a few cases of that, the smell of the opium smoke, which obviously isn't a common smell anymore. So yeah, smells are one of the key things to look for. Right, third category here, which all of us hopefully have got a smoke alarm in our house. We should. If we haven't got one, go and get one, guys. But if your smoke alarm keeps going off for no reason in the middle of the night, and there's no cooking, there's no reason for it at all, you put a new battery in, it's not faulty or whatever, chances are that could be the ghost. Now some ghosts can affect things on a small level. So if something's really sensitive, like any kind of alarm, a burglar alarm or motion sensor alarm in your home, if that keeps going off, you might want to consider that your house could be haunted, and the ghost is either trying to communicate that its presence is there, because believe it or not, some ghosts actually want you to know that they're there, they want to communicate, or it's just a random thing, it comes and goes. In my house, on 2 occasions, the smoke alarm has gone off and the house is actually filled up with smoke, and there's been no fire. One occasion I was in bed at the time, it woke me up, the smoke alarm obviously, came downstairs, the house was full of smoke. And yeah, it's a bit strange, this one, but obviously all of us with the smoke alarms now, you might be able to, register this, it's happened to you. So this is another category. On to category 4 now. Now this is one of the 2 elements, fire and water, and I'll tell you examples that I've come across with this. So if you find that there is spontaneous fire starting in your home. This might sound really strange, would this happen? But it actually does. There's been quite a few worldwide cases of, usually with a poltergeist outbreak, fire starting spontaneously, sometimes in many parts of the house at once. Now this is the most awful type of haunting, obviously, for the dangerous element. And also spontaneous water running down the walls, on the floor. And obviously if you haven't got a pet or leaky pipes, or you haven't spilled it yourself, you've got to ask yourself, where did this water come from? Now the water thing is more common than you think. Now with the fire one, I had an example of this myself when I was writing this book, the Ghost Hunting Case book. I was typing away and my children were all upstairs, and suddenly in the paper rack, smoke started billowing out from it. And I screamed and panicked and threw it out on the garden. And when I looked at all the 40 Times that were in there, which is a magazine that I used to subscribe to, an amazing magazine, that some of those were charred and smoke. And that's the only time that's happened to me, thankfully. But it did frighten me because I am really frightened of fire. Another occasion, I went to see a woman whose house was haunted in the Eastern District of Northampton. And she kept finding that in her wardrobe, her clothes would be wet. She'd go in the morning to get dressed and the clothes would be hanging wet on the hangers, but not just damp, but wringing wet. She also would find puddles of water in the bottom of the wardrobe, and it ended up ruining some of her clothes. And she would also sometimes find her clothes laid out on the bed, almost like trousers and top and hat, so it looked like her. And that was really quite strange. It did scare her a bit, and it ruined some of her clothes. And it only lasted for a short period of time, which made me think it was a poltergeist. Because a poltergeist outbreak normally lasts about 6 weeks to, say, a few months maximum. So I think it was something trying to get in communication with her, but very irritating and annoying, and it upset her at the time. Right, the last category today is all about is your cat and your dog trying to tell you that your house is haunted? Because animals can sense things and it can really upset them, or they can be really happy and wag their tail or go up to something that you can't see. Lots of people have contacted me when I was writing my books and said, you know, my dog won't go into a certain room, my cat gets really scared, the animal will run across the room as if something's chasing it, they'll bark when there's nobody there. So I think animals, it's not that they're more psychic than us, they've got less things blocking them seeing these ghostly entities. They pick up on different vibrations and frequencies. So if your dog or cat is behaving strangely and you've moved house or it suddenly happened, you may want to consider that it's trying to tell you something, that your house could be haunted. So we should listen to what our pets are trying to tell us, and hopefully, you know, we can find out more, maybe set a camera up and things like that. So the next video will be a really nice surprise for you. I don't miss it because it's going to be quite shocking, some of the things that you'll see. So hopefully you'll stick around. If you like this video, subscribe, tell your friends. This is Natalie Osborne Thomas and Ghost Host.